So we think the hybrid workplace is here to stay for either complementing your home office or because you don't want to commute or because you don't have an office. The library is no longer around, and millions of Americans spend billions of dollars in F&B retail to do good quality work. But it's just not designed that way. So VEL is, in its first iteration, is a tech-forward work cafe that helps you do your best work, whether it's acoustic, hygiene, lighting, sound quality, reservations, even hardware, even having Wi-Fi that is better than your Wi-Fi at home, more secure than your Wi-Fi at home. However, you don't have to travel any further because coffee shops are local. You don't have to spend any more per hour than a normal coffee shop because the average check value of a coffee shop is about $10 per customer per head. So it's making sure we give all the value metrics of a coffee shop experience, but as if GoPro made a coffee shop in today's marketplace. A very, very kind of extreme version of a work cafe.
Welcome, folks, to this episode of the Strategy and Leadership Podcast. My name is Anthony Taylor. I'm super excited to be joined by my guest today, Mo Hamzian, who is the CEO at VEL. Mo, how's it going today?
Yeah, very good. Thanks very much, Anthony. Excited to be here.
Awesome, sir. I'm excited. I love your art in the background. And the stupidest thing went through my head when I saw your thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got NFTs in real life. And it was like the most millennial dumb thing I've ever said to myself, but they're cool art. So if you haven't yet, be sure to check us out on YouTube to see the background of Mo. But Mo, where are you calling from? And what's exciting in the life these days?
Yeah, first of all, let me touch them so you know they're not NFTs, they're real. And a cute story. Look, we spend so much time, the workplace has changed so much. We spend so much time behind Zoom, and the rear view camera behind you it's like I spend more time looking at it than the people I speak with, right? Because I see them once a month, twice a month, whatever it is. So I said, I want something curious behind me, something that's going to be uplifting, nothing taking myself too seriously. I found this artist, and then my family actually had some fun, and we all chose our own kind of cat caricatures, impersonations, and then that's where you are. But right now I'm in Northeast Florida, actually, a small place, which is very nice, very sort of symbolic of that you can create small and great things from wherever you are. So I'm in a small town with maybe 10,000 people, but we're doing some really interesting stuff, my team and I.
Cool. And your background, what got you to this point? What kind of ventures, businesses, things have kept you busy over the past years?
Yeah, so I started really working in the 1990s, and when I started working, entrepreneurship wasn't a thing yet. It hadn't happened. It was kind of, you're a businessman or a merchant or something like that. So I fell into real estate by accident. Made some money, thought I'm really good at this, and had some luck along the way, and then real estate, you grow, you get more sophisticated with that on the development side, new build side in England, and then fell into kind of manufacturing and consulting and a little bit of private equity. Private equity took me to the world of retail, and I suddenly realized, gosh, isn't it nice to sell to customer directly? This idea of customer experience, I kind of romanticized it for all this time, being behind the scenes as a real estate guy or an industrialist, but because of that experience of 7 or 8 years being in that, maybe a few years longer than that, I realized I really enjoy innovating product and then selling it to customer. And that engagement or that relationship is very special. That may not be there if you're producing alloy wheels and selling it to car manufacturer, for instance, right? So I did that for a while. Then I decided in my late 30s, which was a great, scary decision, that actually I have some real blind spots here. I've traversed life and entrepreneurship by a series of really good accidents, but I've never had the periscope up to go, this is the direction, this is the tactics, this is a long-term vision. And partly because, you come from a place whereby mentorship wasn't really there. Infrastructure wasn't really there for entrepreneurs as it is today. Silicon Valley wasn't a real thing, in the late 90s, early noughties. And so I said, the best thing to do is to go to business school and upgrade some of those software and firmware inside yourself. So I did that, best thing ever. It taught me vision, strategy, leadership. It actually taught me most of all, depend on what you don't know and fill the gaps. And then that was 2015. A couple of years after that, I decided something called Brexit happened in my home country. And that divorce with Europe, I was slightly allergic to it. And I knew that there are going to be some economic headwinds coming to the UK. And we had a foot in the US anyway. And I said, let's try it here. And, migrating countries is the most imperfect decision you can make in your life, even in a transparent marketplace, but retrospectively, a great one. And I've been here since 2017 and I love it.
Awesome. I love that. Well, let me try to take a culmination question here. So we talked about your cool paintings in the background. We talked about entrepreneurship, what you like. We talked about leadership being something that you care about. So if I said and asked you, what is your perspective on the intermingling of entrepreneurship and personality and why it's important in the marketplace, what would you say?
Well, entrepreneurship, first of all, let me qualify it, is one of the least glamorous things you can do. It's almost like, it's not like flying a private jet. It's like going through a main airport. You have to take your shoes off, your socks off. It's painful. There's a lot of sandpaper involved. And it's a very long road. You better have some stamina. And I do, when I kind of help out the, people 15, 20 years behind me, I make sure they know that it's a 5 to 7 year journey. So sometimes good entrepreneurs just don't know any better. And there are other things. There are other disciplines like intrapreneurship, where you can have that discipline within a Series A or a Series B, or even a corporate, where you can have those exercise the same kind of practices and nuances. But for me, entrepreneurship is this idea of singularly obsessed. Just with the business I'm involved now, I'm sure we talk about it. I recognize the pain point, and this light bulb moment came in. I said, well, wait a minute, I can do something about this. I can fix this. And I became emotional and kind of really energized by it. And then honestly, I couldn't sleep for weeks until I decided, how am I going to fix this? Because that's just that's how you're designed. So a bit of a conquistador. So sometimes you just have to be a little bit dog with a bone, and realize that you can do it. And entrepreneurship, you have this stubborn side to you, this outlaw, this rebel, and it's so nice because in today's market of entrepreneurship, there are frameworks there's so much data out there of what doesn't work, and it mitigates the risk of saying, in case studies, you follow these 7 practices, the chances of success for you and your team is more than if you don't. So that's really good.
Well, it's ironic, or maybe not ironic that you say that. So being an entrepreneur, I can't even point to myself. My first book on entrepreneurship is right here. And it's funny because as an entrepreneur, while there are the frameworks, you want to innovate yourself and say, well, I can do this better. But really, it's all fundamental, but you kind of have to make your own mistakes through that. And I find that super interesting. And that's what, what we take into our leading strategy is, yes, there's a framework, but then you also kind of have to fail through it. And what I find cool about kind of your approach is that once you have that thing in your mind, you go after it. And entrepreneurship is just a series of failures until you become successful, which I think entrepreneurship and innovation are tied closely together, because the only reason you're innovating is because you're trying to create a new outcome. So you just keep going until you get to that outcome that you desire. What are your thoughts on that?
I do. I think in terms of outcome, I absolutely agree with you. In terms of outcome of entrepreneurship, kind of this rule of thumb, back of the envelope, when you're doing some stress testing earlier on, I always think of it this kind of 3+1 model. I didn't come up with this. This is kind of learning from different business schools, etc. Number one is this team, the people. Do you have the resources and capabilities and the know-how within you and your co-founding team and your advisory team and your board of directors, however small or big you are, to execute the way you think you're going to execute. Because solopreneurs, goodness me, it's very risky. You could get sick, you get argument with your investors, lots of things can happen. And statistically, they get less funded. So you definitely have a good team, and you're going to have to pivot. Like you said, you're going to fail, you're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to have to learn what it takes as a team to be able to say, let's shift our feet a little bit and look at it this way. And one of the things that actually, one of my pet things I enjoy learning about is removing heuristics and confirmation biases. And a good team, like, will give you that. The next thing is this product market fit. Is the pain point significant, or is it an itch? Because if it's an itch, good luck. Customer is not going to pay what you think they're going to pay, because they're just switching costs are so high in today's marketplace. So the product market better be right, significant, and for a large body of people, hopefully. Then it's this economics of it, this business model of it. How are you earning money? Where do you lose money? Where do you gain money? Is it subscription? Is it recurring? Is it defendable? Are margins good? Some of those kind of value engineering under the hood. And then the most important, I feel, of the wrapper is the trend there. Are you too early? Are you too late? Do you have the wind of change behind you? And some businesses have it, some don't. And Apple is very good at capitalizing on someone else's misfortune or being second to market. iPod, iPhone, list goes on, because the trend was there where it wasn't previously for their competitors.
Yeah, I find it interesting. And again, when we do strategic planning, we incorporate a trend analysis. But I thought it was cool when you talk about the winds of change, you saw the writing on the wall for the UK as an example and saying, hey, what are the opportunities here? What is going to be happening? Am I positioning myself in a place to be successful? And, now you're in a 10,000 person town in Florida with other businesses in the US, which I'm going to ask you about shortly. But it sounds like you surveyed your opportunities and you made that strategic bet even into the unknown to be able to help you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish moving forward.
It's true. It's exactly right. With imperfect information, I was 70% sure moving to the US is a good decision, and we went for it as a family. And in the end, it could have not been, and then you would have had to adjust your feet. But you can't get stuck in a moment. Sometimes sit on your hand is a good strategy, but it's a near-term decision.
Yeah, I find that some people will avoid making a mistake for fear of the wrong thing. And that is, to me, of course, like that's the safe route. I'm not wired that way either, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. So you need to be that entrepreneur, corporate explorer, as one of our previous guests shared, to be able to help you get to that next place. So as a segue, what is the business? What is VEL? What is keeping you excited over 2022 and beyond?
Wow, you say that, the back of my hair was kind of standing up, and I do this every day. It's one of those businesses that, I kid you not, gets me and my co-founder and CEO, Jack, up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we go till 10:30, 11. And we've built such a great team around us. So we're really excited. So if you and I met in a very quick elevator ride, and you said, Anthony, you said, Mo, you said, what do you do for a living? I would say, well, we are the love child of Starbucks and WeWork. We wanted to ask, what does the new age coffee shop look like? Because coffee shops are great if you want to buy coffee and want to buy a pastry. But if you want to open up your laptop, you want flexible privacy, you want reservation, you want good acoustics, you want a space that is designed for you to do very good quality work locally to you, it doesn't exist. So we think the hybrid workplace is here to stay, for either complementing your home office, or because you don't want to commute, or because you don't have an office. The library is no longer around. And millions of Americans spend billions of dollars in F&B retail to do good quality work. But it's just not designed that way. So VEL is, in its first iteration, is a tech-forward work cafe that helps you do your best work, whether it's acoustic, hygiene, lighting, sound quality, reservations, even hardware, even having Wi-Fi that is better than your Wi-Fi at home, more secure than your Wi-Fi at home. However, you don't have to travel any further because coffee shops are local. You don't have to spend any more per hour than a normal coffee shop, because the average check value of a coffee shop is about $10 per per customer, per head. So it's making sure we give all the value metrics of a coffee shop experience, but as if GoPro made a coffee shop in today's marketplace. A very, very kind of extreme version of a work cafe.
That's cool. Well, again, it goes back to like thematically, if we look at the winds of change and what's happening in the marketplace, co-working, and I was worked in co-working for so long. And the fundamental idea when co-working was new, pre entrepreneurship, now co-working, was, hey, here's a third space for you to work from, just a place to get out of your house to do work or to save money on office. And what I like that you guys have done is taken that and like distilled the value to say, it's not just a place for you to do work. It's a place for you to do your best work, because you recognize the environment matters. What's behind you matters. What's around you matters, but also not making it prohibitively expensive that other co-working spaces are. You've created a really great differentiator, niche, and environment. And I assert that, it's the, not the culture, but the vibe around the place is really important to support the people in your space being successful.
Yeah, you said it really well. And co-working, we love it. Co-working is this office replacement, actually. And there's a friction to it. One, it's not local. Two, it's a warehouse solution. Two, it's a membership program, so it's exclusive. So there's an encumbrance there, and what you pay $300-400 a month might get you a hot desk, but that's about it. So therefore it doesn't have that inclusive or transactional flexibility of a coffee shop, because anyone can go into a coffee shop. But coffee shops are, huge pain points in a coffee shop, and most coffee shops in the US actually prefer you to buy coffee and pastry and leave, thanks very much, because they rely on that, and that's okay, because that's the mandate of a coffee shop. But no, we're kind of really excited by it. We've had 2 fundraisers, both have gone tremendously well. Some really cool people around us. We're opening shop number 1 in Savannah, Georgia, with a couple more behind in the pipeline. So good things to come.
Excellent. So as we know, the path of an entrepreneur, whether you're an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur, an innovator, a disruptor, it is always a new path. And just because you had success in your past ventures does not mean you're going to have success in your future ventures. By the way, I'm just saying, generally speaking, not for you. And so I'm curious as to where you sit right now. As of today, what are some of the new challenges that are expanding your brain, that are having you're saying, hey, I haven't solved this yet. I'm still working through this. I'm evolving in this iteration of my life and my career and my business. What are the kind of 2 or 3 wonders that you still have about what's next for you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it's about, comes to this idea of culture, what you're trying to create for yourself, and your personal manifesto, then your business's vision to create. At VEL, and in my personal life, because we're a small team, and the co-founders and senior managers have enormous influence on the culture of VEL, we really truly believe in excellence. We want our customers and internally us to be wanting to win the gold medal. Therefore comes tremendous amount of sacrifice and commitment to try and win the gold medal in 4 years' time. So growth is inherent in startup world, in today's startup world, and scale is also inherent. So being able to grow and scale our value proposition and get market share and be known for it is tantalizing. I mean, that's our version of the gold medal. So one of those things is to do that in this chapter of life. But at the same time, what we fall in love with is product. We love innovating our product. We love, at the moment we're kind of exploring this idea of air quality in a coffee shop, and what is our responsibility? Where does it stop? Where does it end? What value engineering metrics can we bring in? What is perception of air quality versus air quality itself? How detailed do we want to get? What budgets do we want to allocate to it? And that's just air quality. I mean, I can tell you about door handles, and it's a similar exercise. But no, it's really fun to be doing this with my team and this product. And the winds of change are here with workplace changing so much. Freelancers, there are more of them. Remote work is now a real category. So it's fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, I can tell that you love not just the outcome, but certainly the outcome, but also the process that leads to the outcome. Like the training is fun because that's, it's in your bones. You just like doing that. So I'm very happy for you. I'm very excited. It sounds like a very, very cool thing. And I look forward to seeing the doors and experiencing the air quality next time I'm in Savannah. Just as we finish up today, you've done a lot of education yourself on strategy and leadership. You did your postdoc. Like what's one thing you want to leave with our listeners, either a guiding principle or a big aha for you as it relates to strategy and leadership for organizations and individuals?
Yeah, I mean, for individuals is, we have an investor with us, a chap called Tom, a brilliant mind. He's scaled businesses in the past, and he always says, have the end in mind, and that's so important to know which direction you want to get to. Actually, when I was younger, I did a lot of motor racing, and it's you will drive where your eyes are, and that's a metaphor for life. Having your eye on the ball is really, really, really important. And the other thing that I would say is rely on good data. That's something that's in today's market is quite inexpensive and to do, and then common sense. You'll be surprised how good our internal barometer is on what feels right, what sounds right, and what decisions you can make around it. And finally, I leave this, but I had a professor ex-McKinsey, her name was Jessica, is still Jessica, and she said, follow the money, Mo. And it's really important. In today's marketplace, startups chase valuations, market share, customers. It's important to think about revenue and the bottom line.
Absolutely. I love that. Drive where your eyes are, be clear about that outcome, make sure that you got good data. So do the testing. And of course, follow the money, because if there's no money, there's no check, there's no deal. So I love that. Mo, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they learn more about what you're doing, and where can they see the newest VEL space?
Yeah, so VEL, Savannah, Georgia, with Charleston behind it and a few other cities after that. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. I love connecting with new people. The company's domain is myvel.com. We tried to buy VEL.com, but the owners wanted $750,000 for it. So we said no. So myvel.com is where the business is at. But and our social media handles is work@VEL. So you can find us lots of different places.
Awesome, VEL, or awesome, Mo. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was awesome chatting with you, ladies and gentlemen, folks and people. My guest, Mo Hamzian, who is the CEO of VEL. Be sure to check out his space. Be sure to check out his art, and be sure to follow the money wherever you go. So thanks so much for watching. My name is Anthony Taylor. This has been the Strategy and Leadership Podcast. Appreciate you watching. If you're looking for somebody to help you keep your eyes on the road as it relates to your strategy or your strategic plan, be sure to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help. SMEstrategy.net. So thanks so much for joining us today. And until next time.